Are you interested in learning more about preparing quick, healthy, and safe meals for your family? Would you like to spend time with others learning tips and tricks, along with practicing and tasting nutritious food? If so, the On the Road to Healthy Living Mobile Cooking School is for you. Call Amy Ressler at Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service at 936-539-7825 to find a class near you or volunteer to host a class.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us on the Cindy Cochran Show. I really appreciate it. And that's not my camera, is it? My camera's going to be it's okay? Well, I don't see. Is it pointing at me, Richard? Is it? I don't think so.
It seems Richard knows you
that's
so
supposed
well.
to be. I know, 7 years is just...
there's another one
see, that's
there.
usually...
Yeah.
If we have more than one or two people, then I get that camera over there.
Sure.
And I like that one further away. But, so you got it on me now? It's on me? Richard, it's on me?
Again, like we said before we started, Cindy believes it's all about her. And
I'm proving that, aren't I?
yes.
Okay.
And my favorite thing, she doesn't even talking to the mic. She's over the mic right now, and I've always tried to correct her on that. But she goes, but they won't see me. I'm like, would you rather be seen or heard?
Well, I
This is technically a hearing thing.
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, like she doesn't care. She's like, they need to see me.
there was a point where every Tuesday I would do the show, and I'd sign everything that was saying so that people who were deaf could watch the show and see us. And so it was, this thing kept getting in the way. I kept banging my hands. It was really difficult to do. But Richard said, you talk too slow whenever you're trying to sign and talk at the same time.
Yeah.
And so he thought that would be too boring for people. So I said, okay. So it's on him. I mean, poor deaf people out there were.
Well, I really don't.
watch with closed captions too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you can catch. Yeah,
I don't believe there are deaf people, so that's why I told her we're not doing that.
You don't believe the what?
There's no such thing as deaf people.
Oh, there's no such thing as deaf people.
no.
What? You know what? It's
They're faking.
Yes.
Yeah, they're faking. They're right. Cindy, you told me that in secret. Like, they're all faking.
Huh?
You told me that.
No, I didn't.
That's what I say about atheism.
Yeah.
They say God doesn't exist. I don't know if they exist.
See, I think that's.
Wait, when she came up with the idea of doing a show for the deaf, I was like, this is a radio show, right? Like, the primary audience is on the radio.
But it's being streamed, so I can tell the deaf people. I can tell them they can watch it live.
Right.
And I'm going to sign everything that
Right.
We
that we
appreciate
say.
your heart. That's a heart of gold.
I know. God knew what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
That excuse only works for so long.
He's like the realist. He tries to keep me locked down and on a flat basis of trying to understand everybody and don't just talk, Cindy, and just don't keep talking. Let the guests talk. Oh, okay. Listen, today we've got a great
Don't forget
group.
you have a sponsor.
Oh, and I have a sponsor as well.
Yeah, that's probably the most important thing to discuss on the
True.
show.
Everybody knows that, right?
I ask just for a
Sponsors are
second.
important.
Just say the sponsor. Just say it. That's all you got to say.
Okay, Chris Wootton, how you doing? Chris Wootton, the financial group, is our sponsor, and he's a great guy. He's very well, grounded, and he's. I have him as a financial advisor, and it's just so funny to say financial advisor, like I got money to finance. Okay, so anyway, Chris Wootton, the financial advisor, they've been here since over 21 years, and so, they got to be doing something right, because in Conroe, if you're doing something wrong, everybody knows about it, and you'll be kicked out. You won't be able to stay here anymore. So,
Right.
Chris, you're doing a good job. All right, so we've got a good group here, and you've seen them before. It's just an addition today. We have Dina with us. Dina, could you raise your hand so they know which one's Dina? Okay, and then there's, of course, Kent and Chris. And they're here with the adult. No. Okay,
That's
no, wait.
right.
I don't get the
You got it.
the adult teenage challenge.
Yeah,
Adult
that's close
and
enough.
teen challenge.
Adult and Teen Challenge of Texas.
And not adult teen. Okay, adult
Right.
and teen challenge of Texas. That's right. Okay, and so what's exciting is that we talked about last time that y'all were here, all the good things that you do, and it was great. Everybody and they told their story, and Dina now has been hired on as new admissions. And what's cool is that she's very understanding, and she knows where people are at. And so there's so many parents out there that have children that need some help, and they don't know where to take them. They just don't know who to trust, who to take them to, and all that. And Dina's the one that talk to them, and make sure everything's cool, and they something that will help them, and they know that you can help them. And so it's great to have you here and to have someone and to have a woman in the group. That's good, because you probably have females that come to your office and say, we want to be part of a, or is this is it I didn't I think I asked that last time. Is it male, all male? And y'all have females in
It's
a
just
different
it's a men's center, the one that we're at. So
Yes.
we do have female centers. There's one in Alvin, but we're only a men's center. But there is something, however, that women staff members can bring that maybe men can't. I think that we
course.
have a measure of compassion and
Understanding.
gentleness that the men
Yes.
don't necessarily have all the time. But
yes.
yeah.
You looked at Richard. That was good. Because
No, actually, I really appreciate you clarifying that, because when I was researching you guys, your website has the general teen and adult, but then when you go into like the local area, a lot of it says men's. So I was very confused. I was like, wait, what's going on here? So
Yeah.
thank you so much for clarifying
Sure.
that.
Yeah, we're the Houston men, so we cover the
Yeah,
Houston area.
that's the Facebook page I found, and I
Yeah.
was like, I guess
Yeah.
they don't like
Yeah,
women
there's
there.
a Houston
Why not?
women's campus. There's a Houston women's campus too.
Yeah.
There's an adolescents campus.
Okay.
There's 12 campuses in Texas,
Okay.
and they
Wow.
all range. Men's, women's, adolescents. There's a boys campus.
And a girls'
And a girls'
campus.
And a
campus,
girls'
teenagers.
Well, now that's just another thing is you're not mixing like adults and
No,
There's
not
not a
at all.
co-ed. Now, San Antonio has a women with children campus. They've got they've got almost a full house there, but that's for like women who need recovery, but they've just had a baby. Some of them are pregnant, and so we're helping that demographic too, which is really cool.
that's
Yeah.
y'all are so good. Now Dina was helped in Brooklyn, New York. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll talk like this for a little bit.
Hey,
and
what
then
are you
you'll
talking
get
about?
back.
You know, I don't know. You better get out of here. Forget about it.
Oh my gosh.
I watch all the mob things. and
Don't
I-
encourage. Please don't encourage Cindy. Please don't encourage Cindy.
I love it. It's so funny. And if I start talking to someone that has an accent like that, I'll all day. And they go, okay, who are you with today? And so I'll tell them, I said, she was from Brooklyn, New York. It's so good. No, that's great. So, and we see Brooklyn as like a different country, like in
Sure.
Texas. And it must have been a big change over to come to Texas from Brooklyn.
Yeah. So, I lived on Long Island. For
Long Island.
Long Island,
That's so
right? For almost of my life, but I went through the program in Brooklyn. That's just where the Lord landed me, and it was a great place for me to be. My life was really transformed there, and since then I've been 11 years clean, coming up in May.
Oh, congratulations.
And so,
That's great.
yeah, it was a great program. Yeah.
Well, in the where did you go back there, and have you been back there since you've been here in Texas? Have you been back to that?
To the center?
place? Yeah.
Not really. They had to close the door to their women's center a few years after I graduated because of finances. Which is sad.
Yeah.
But they still have the men's program there at the original center that was, started by David Wilkerson back in the 50s. But yeah, I haven't been back there recently. I know that they renovated it and stuff. So it's doing good. We just need a women's program there again, I think.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Well, we'll just champion that. We'll just call Brooklyn up and we'll
Yeah,
tell them,
right.
hey, Conroe here. We've been talking about you and, trying to get y'all
Right.
set up so that you can get some money.
Sure,
down
right.
there
Hey, why not, right?
right now. Anyway, so now y'all are married, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I want to make sure that I should probably make sure that before we got on the air. And no, he's Chris had said we got to bring his wife on because she has a great story. So when did you get into drugs? When was it drugs that was the problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
I originally got into drugs. It was around senior year where it got bad. I had dabbled in it before, but it never became an issue. I had a pretty rough family life growing up, though I grew up in the church. I suffered from abuse in my household. And so I grew up in church, hearing that God loved me and that Jesus loved me, but I didn't believe it. I believed it was for everyone else but me. And so,
because you didn't deserve it, you felt?
Yeah, I didn't deserve it. I never experienced love in a way that I guess I should have. And so I thought God's love was for everyone but me. And senior year of high school, different things started to happen. And I just came to my breaking point, and I started to hang out with the wrong crowd in school. Started out with smoking weed, and then it gradually kind of went to pills and coke and anything else I could get my hands on. And from there, it spiraled out into a 7-year drug addiction. In that 7 years, I had, psych ward visits, psychiatric visits. I was depressed.
Yeah. Goodness.
And yeah, it was a really big mess. So.
Well, I think that it's, people say that smoking weed is not a pathway to anything. Anybody can smoke weed and it's fine. You can control it. It's not that stuff. But more people I would talk to, and I'd say, okay, well, how did you get started? And they said, oh, well, smoking grass. We just,
Yeah.
And I'm from the 60s, and I know that's where they all started from, because we'd go someplace and it'd be just filled with a smell of grass. That just reminds me of the 60s. That just triggers me to go right back to the 60s whenever I smell that, and I go like, that's terrible, because if you never got started on that, and that's the problem, is because of your youth, everybody, you're just doing what everybody else does, or you have problems at home, so maybe this will, I'll get away from them for a while.
Yeah, I was looking for something to help get rid of my pain.
Yeah.
I had been in church for so long and not believing that God loved me. And so there was a point where I said, okay, well, Jesus isn't taking my pain away, so let me see what else is out there that could. And I knew the first time, that I smoked weed, I knew it wasn't right. And I didn't want to do it anymore. But then I became friends with these people, and so now I was facing peer pressure. And before it became a lifestyle before I knew it. And it was the lifestyle that was hard for me to switch because, I'm already friends with these people. I got rid of my old friends, and so it just spiraled out of control pretty quickly. And yeah, so it was definitely my gateway, and it was a compromise that I had made in my Christian faith, because I grew up in the church, but it was a compromise. And when you compromise once, it's easy for you to compromise again and again and again.
Right. And how we are so good at excusing ourselves for, well, I have a really good excuse. This has happened to me, or this has happened to me, and that gives you a way into it, and then to pull out of it becomes.
Yeah.
So you were very blessed. You were able to get out of it, and
how I got out of it wasn't the prettiest way.
Oh,
it was at the end of my 7-year addiction. I told my parents I needed help. At the time, it was a pretty severe cocaine addiction and pills, and I just got sick of looking over my shoulder. I got sick of just the turmoil that comes from doing drugs, especially when you grew up in church. It's wrong.
Sure.
And it's just not a great way to live, and it was eating me up. And so I told my parents I needed help, and my mom suggested Teen Challenge to me, but I said no, I want to do it the easy way. and I want to do it the quick way, send me to a rehab where there's palm trees. Send me, where it's like a vacation, because I need to find peace.
You didn't want a boot camp.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I didn't want to give up smoking cigarettes, and I didn't want to commit for a year. And so, I went down to Florida, and I went to a 30-day rehab. I ended up being there for about 40 days. And without doing any healing on me or, getting down to the root of why I did drugs in the first place, they just gave me some clean time and sent me off. And so after that, I moved home fairly quickly, and I relapsed, and I tried heroin for the first time.
See, and I'm feeling what your parents would, and how many parents, and you guys are talking to parents all the time, and that desperate, absolutely desperate to see, is this going to ever go away? And to see someone that it did go away, and even though it was 7 years, and a lot of times our patience isn't for 7 years, and so they give up on them.
Yeah,
really
let me tell you,
quick.
my mom, loves the Lord, raised me in church, and she prayed for me. She prayed for me before my addiction, but I know she would pray for me. She would leave me little notes on my bed with scriptures on it and saying, just her prayers for me and things. And at the time, it made me so mad, her and her Bible verses, it just would make me so mad. But her prayers, she persevered in that, and it paid off.
Right.
They went through, a lot of stuff with me to get me where I the Lord wanted me to be. But yeah, it was through my mom's prayers and my grandma's prayers and, a bunch of other people too.
Now, how did you meet Kent?
Well, that is a story.
Another story.
That is after, after I got clean. So, like I said, I relapsed, and I tried heroin. That wasn't it. Just the second time I did heroin is like a month later. I actually overdosed, and I was alone in my room, and my mom just happened to take off work the next day. And I always smile when I share this story, not because it's not a serious situation, but I just know where I'm at now, And my mom just happened to take off work, which was the Lord,
She just happened to.
And she said, wow, Dina has been really proud of how she's been keeping up with the rehab schedule and waking up early. It's like 11 o'clock. Why isn't she awake yet? So she went out to check on me, to check on me. And she said she can hear me breathing, but she didn't see me anywhere on my bed, on my couch. And all of a sudden she looks down and she sees me face down on the floor. I was not breathing, not responding, and I was gasping for air. Really,
no.
I was, she said it was like purple. It was close,
Yeah.
And so my brother called 911 and the ambulance came to pick me up. But, they were working on me there. They shot me with Narcan twice. It didn't do anything. So they rushed me to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, my heart stopped for 10 minutes. Okay? 10 minutes. They say anything over 4 minutes, your brain starts to lose significant amount of oxygen to the brain. Anything over 9 minutes, you're facing irreversible brain damage. Okay? My heart stopped for 10 minutes. So they were able to revive me after those 10 minutes. Then they put me in a medically induced coma. And when I was in the coma, the doctors did a CAT scan of my brain, and it showed brain damage. It showed that I had signs of brain damage. And my hands were curled in, which is a physical sign of brain damage. I was flailing, pulling the tubes out of my mouth while I was in the coma. So the doctors told my parents that if I were to ever wake up, she would be brain dead.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah. And, I have my tracheotomy scar here.
Oh.
They ended up
That's
intubating me. And so where there seemed to be no hope for me, the doctors told my parents bad report after bad report after bad report. I had double pneumonia. They weren't sure if I had strokes. I mean, it was just very, very negative. And they told them, your daughter's going to be brain dead, but my mother, a praying mother, my grandmother, her mother, a praying grandma,
Yes.
would not
Give up.
receive that.
Oh, no.
They knew that what's impossible for man is possible with God, and that nothing's too hard for him.
That's right. All things are possible. Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
And so, yeah, they prayed for me. They sent out, I mean, there were probably thousands of people praying for me. The 700 Club was praying for me. I mean, like, you name it,
That's great.
there were people praying for me. And so a week later, glory to God, I woke up from the coma, not brain dead. I didn't know where I was or what happened. I had
No.
amnesia, but I wasn't brain dead. And I looked just totally beat up, and I couldn't move my left hand. I had severe nerve damage. I was pretty beat up. However, I was alive and not brain dead.
Right.
And the day after I got out of the hospital, I went into Teen Challenge, and it was when I was in Teen Challenge that my mom and I went to a neurologist appointment to do a follow-up on my brain because there was brain damage, but here I am, you know. So they wanted to make sure everything was okay. They did an MRI of my brain, and there was no brain damage. Now, the doctor was shocked. He said, well,
This doesn't make sense.
it's like your brain healed itself, but brains don't just heal themselves, you know? And my mom and I knew, like, it was the Lord.
That's right.
It was the Lord.
That's right.
There's no medical explanation as to why I'm alive, why I'm not brain dead. The only answer is Jesus, because throughout history, there are records of there being prayer mixed with miraculous things that science
Right.
can't explain. And so when you combine them two together, that's how we know that God was involved in that, and he divinely intervened. And they even said that people who come in my condition, who have a tracheotomy in the hospital, they often leave with the tracheotomy and they can't talk for the rest of their lives. However, again, God had a plan for me to be able to have a voice to share what he's done for me and to say that he can do the same for anybody else facing impossible situations.
That's exactly right.
If death is not too hard or too strong for the Lord, then any impossible situation anyone out there is facing, it's not too hard for him.
See, that's perfect. And I'm so glad now that you guys are going to have this video, and that it's going up on some cloud, and it'll be there forever. So that this kind of what all you said and everything that you just shared your heart with, and I got to tell you that while you were doing that, Kent was going. he was just reliving everything when you're like with you like that. Now, did y'all meet at the Teen Challenge?
No, actually we
Office?
didn't. It's kind of crazy that we're both connected with Teen Challenge because we didn't. So there was a girl that had partially went through a program that my parents had ran in Arkansas, and her name is Tyranny. She's way nicer than her name would imply, but she's really good. But she went to that program that my parents were in charge of at the time. My parents then moved on, and she ended up leaving the program and graduated another. And she's living for the Lord now. And she went to school with Dina, and they had a class together. They went on mission trips together, right? And then, and so that's through her is how we connected on Facebook. Ultimately, back in 2021.
Yeah, she sent me his profile.
Oh,
And
you liked his profile, huh?
And so, well, I was actually not impressed.
Okay.
Nothing against him.
No, it's
but
okay.
Nothing against
I
him.
also
but
was not impressed.
She,
No, I'm just kidding.
she would list his ministry roles and said that we would be perfect. And I had just faced like some pain with someone who had ministry roles, and they ended up not being who they said to be on paper. And so it was from a place of being hurt, you know. That I was like, okay, you know, those things don't matter to me, but I guess I'll talk to him, you know.
That's the way I felt. I didn't. She basically did the same to me, and I really didn't care. I never start off with all the stuff that I've accomplished or the roles that I fill. I don't
It
really.
was Tyranny who was trying to hook us up.
And
that,
so I was
you
like,
know,
well, that's not usually what I start off with anyway.
Yeah.
So I guess we're fine.
That is, well, having a common base like that is that is that strengthening for the marriage? Do you
Well,
find
it's
that
good. Yeah, of
that
course.
y'all can lean on each other and
Yeah.
and be so proud of each other. So
Yeah.
you've got a lot to be proud of, and that is so cute. And you're from Are you from Texas?
So, well, I'm originally from Florida, but I've lived all over the Southeast.
Okay.
Now, I actually was living in Alabama when we first talked to each other back in 2021. We talked for a little bit, and then she ditched me. And so
Dina.
Again, it was the pain that I had.
it was
I-
legitimate. I mean, she
yeah.
had to work through some different things
Yeah.
with a previous relationship.
And I,
And she wouldn't.
She wasn't impressed. She ditched me. No, but then after a time, I don't know how long it was. What, a year?
Year and a half,
A year and a
yeah.
half, we started talking again. And then after a little bit, I felt, emotionally we were starting to connect, and then she ditched me again.
oh no, that wasn't the year and a half. That
Oh,
was
it
just like
wasn't?
2 months. That was 2 months.
2
yeah.
months.
Only 2 months. It only took.
It only took 2 months, and she messaged me back again. We started getting a little bit more emotionally connected, and then she ditched me again.
Oh.
And then a year and a half goes, and she messages me when I'm now I live in Texas, and I went over to Alabama to help my parents to put together a house so that they can move to Texas. And she sent I go to sleep early that night. The next morning, I wake up to a text from her that says, "Hey, how have you been?" And that's it with a question mark. And pick up my phone and I go, and I set it down and I just move on. And if it wouldn't have been, and I probably would have ended up texting her back just so I wasn't rude or mean.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't into playing games.
No.
I had work. I'm in ministry. I got business to do.
Right.
Richard,
Which was
don't
one of
jump
the
in.
excuses
Don't
I
jump
gave
in.
you why I didn't want to talk to you anymore the first time, I think.
Oh, okay.
And
And
that's
that's
something
That was the
I
second
really,
time.
I really respect about Ken is he comes, like his dad was a Teen Challenge graduate, and so that kind of speaks for the program too.
Right.
And I think that's something I haven't yet, but I'd love to mention it to the parents that come into our program who have guys in the program of like, hey, we have staff here who their kids are now full-time ministers in this. It's really special.
Yeah.
No, you got. Oh,
And
y'all
he's been
got
doing
it
ministry
great.
like his whole life. So
Yeah, well, I pretty much grew up in Teen Challenge. But this is, and the deal is that we started talking, we started talking, you were what, 8 years out after you graduated from the program? Something like that. It
yeah.
was a while. And that was one of the things for me is it's got to be sometime. A person's got to prove themselves after graduating for me to even entertain that now.
Well, right. That's I was
Right.
thinking how long that was, because it wasn't like she,
Right.
she
didn't just
still looked
graduate
like
a
she was beat
program.
up or anything.
Well, it's not even necessarily about that, but I want, for me it was there needs to be a level of maturity, a level of stability in their personal life
Sure.
and their relationship with God before they should even start pursuing a relationship or me start pursuing them for a relationship. And she had that was really the main test for me when we first started talking. Not necessarily that she had done different ministry roles and fulfilled it. The matter of fact, I told my parents all the time, or my family all the time, and said, the deal is I don't want to date no girl that's been to Bible college because I just don't trust them. I know that because
Why?
I just,
you got to explain that one.
I'm
they
going to
gotta-
interview you. Yes, and why is that?
the deal for me is that usually people who, I don't want to say too general of a statement, but from my experience, it's just like I've been in ministry full time. Usually people that go to Bible college, they're learning still on how to really do ministry.
Right.
Until they've got their hands wet and their feet dirty, then they really don't
exactly.
know.
Yeah,
right?
I know what you're saying. I think it's wise.
And so that
to-
was with me.
yeah.
And so I was like, well, they will really have to prove themselves ultimately. But I just got away. I just say things like that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you want to surround
I-
yourself with people who have sustained the
And I-
attacks of the enemy. you know?
Yeah, and I'm glad it's not Kent judging me and God, because he would have understood and not judged me for all the things I had done, and, so, and it's still taking me in. Thank you. I love those scriptures that judge not, or I'm going to judge you the same way you judge other people, and
Yeah.
that's the scariest, one of the scariest scriptures in there.
Yeah.
Is
Right.
how we are so judgmental about everybody.
And typically, if you're judgmental about other people, then you'll judge yourself in that same way.
Yeah.
right,
And that's
right.
how that's what that verse says to me. It's like if you have that judgmental mindset towards other people, then you're going to condemn yourself
Yep.
too, and by judging yourself.
I mean, how brilliant is that to
It is. It's
to come up
genius.
to it's
His ways are
it's
higher
such
than
a
ours.
Yeah.
Reciprocal tariff, because the same way you charge me, I'm going to charge you the same way.
It's that old saying, when you have one finger pointing at you, you have 3 pointing back at yourself.
That's right.
I love that
It's like,
aspect of God
yeah.
too, because it proves that his judgments are righteous.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I think that what's so cool about your relationship is that there is no judgment. You can't judge each other, because you've been there, you've done that, and you've overcome it. And so that's the great heroic thing of it. And what God loves the most is that you let him help you over that.
Yeah.
I think that the parents, going back to the parents, and how they are desperately searching for something like this for their child. And nobody guarantees. I mean, it's not like we're going to guarantee your kid's going to come out here great. We guarantee Jesus is going to be there. We guarantee God's going to be there, and the Holy Spirit's going to be there, and they're going to be waiting for to take you in, and they know what you've gone through and all that. So I think that's, if you want to speak to the parents and talk to them about what you offer, what the process is, and how simple it is. It's all out there for you, and with these people are people that can be trusted. I think I certainly believe that. With Richard, yeah, maybe not, but not so much. But I think you guys can be really trusted.
We do our
I'm
very
so mean to
best.
him. But if you want to do that,
Well, I think the track record speaks for itself. The 78% sobriety success rate after 5 years is
wow,
unprecedented. 3/4 of the people that graduate our program stay sober after 5 years.
wow.
And you'd think if you have 5 years, you're going to be good,
Yeah.
you're going to have long-term recovery.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, 5 years. 5 years.
Yeah.
That, especially someone like me, that's a long time.
Yeah, I think
It's like 5
I
years.
think the faith-based part, the fact that the program is intensive discipleship, I think that's important. I was looking over the students' daily schedules, that they have, and it's pretty intensive. It's not called adult and teen cakewalk. It's adult and
right.
teen challenge. It is
Yeah, the challenge.
It's not
is there.
easy.
Right.
That's what everybody said. Oh well, it's been such a challenge. Like it's been horrible. It's been
I
it's
always
been
tell
hell on
people-
earth.
I always
Yeah.
tell people who want to come into the program, it was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do, but it was one of the best things that I've ever done.
Exactly.
Any good thing, doesn't come easy, especially when, people are in addiction for so many years, and then they expect to be free from all the things that caused it in a month. You can't even scratch the surface in a month. And so I think that the program is really intentional to have it long term, because it gives people the time to really build a foundation with the Lord. But not only that, but to get to the root of why they're in addiction in the first place. We don't just
Right.
want to get clean time. That's good. But we need more than that. There were
Yeah.
reasons
Sure.
why we chose to do drugs, and that we need to give God the time to heal those things.
Right.
So that we can live that free life.
Right.
When we graduate.
And when the kids come in there, I can call them kids, right? Okay.
If you like.
To me, everybody's a
Sure.
kid. Y'all are all kids. Is that they want proof that this is going to work, and your stories, your lives, are what they probably hang on a lot, right? And so you've got to be a really good example, because they're looking to you to say, how long is this going to work for me? Am I really going to get out of this? And one day not want, if somebody dumps me or if somebody's mean to me or something like that, then I'm going to go back on, go back on that. But I know y'all cover all that psychologically, but the way a parent, a dad or a mom, is going to call and contact you is how?
So there's an initial contact, and that is usually with the admissions coordinator at the campus. Now, the fact that we have 12 campuses overall in Texas, sometimes someone might want to relocate because where they're at is a tempting place. When I went through
yeah.
the program 10 years ago, I specifically went to a location that I knew I wasn't going to
know
be tempted. I didn't know anybody,
Oh,
you know,
no.
around that area.
That is.
And
that's
so, even though we are located in Magnolia, we cover the Houston area. We get people from different states that come, you know, and relocate to come to our campus. And we see it such a blessing, you know, the different mix of people.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of those hidden blessings a lot of people don't know too, is this the community that is cultivated at campus is so amazing. I mean, you have different ages, different worldviews sometimes,
Sure.
different backgrounds. And sobriety, when it comes down to it, it's not just a matter of sobriety. It's a matter of life and death, especially nowadays with all these concoctions and mixtures of all these substances. It's a matter of life and death. So I take it seriously. I tell the guys every single day, hey, this is a matter of life and death. You know, there's some times where there's some hard choices to be made on campus, but ultimately at the end of the day, we love the men and we want them to succeed long term. And so we try to, you know, it's one thing to just say sober. It's another thing to be an active member of a church and stay prayerful and stay in the Lord's will, you know, and be obedient to the word. And, you know, it's things like that. So,
and watch how it changes you. It does change you. I love the hallow thing that comes across. And when they talk about Mark and Wahlberg, is Wahlberg?
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg. And then this, the guy that plays Galaxy,
Chris Pratt.
Chris
Pratt, yeah.
And they're having fun. They're having fun with it, and saying, and he talks about how it's changed his life. He's reading the Bible every day, and he's praying, and all, so all those, it's like there you do feel there's a change that's happened within the last, you know, decade. It's just it's something that we've all been scared about because we've lost more and more teens. They're coming back to church. They're coming back to worship, you know, and whether they're being drugged by their parents or not, I don't know. If you come back, you're going to come back. But it's really joyful in the church, right now, and because we went through the pandemic and we gone like, oh, you know, what is God thinking? Okay, we're all in bed now. And how am we going to get these people out of bed and get them back in sitting in the seat and all that? So it's been a challenge for that, I know, especially. Now, when you're doing your sermons, though, when you're actually doing your sermons, are you doing this? Do you mostly just talk about? Is it just scripture stuff, or are you talking about world stuff that's going on in the?
We try to be as well-rounded as we can be because we're really a holistic program. So we've got the spiritual aspect. You better believe there's plenty of Bible, plenty of scripture memory, Bible concepts. They learn about the Trinity. They learn about the Father, the Son, and the Son's sacrifice on the cross and the atonement. They learn about all these different theological things, sure. But we also have we've got a gym there. We try to help make sure that they're eating properly while they're there, the physical part of it. And then the mental. We have advising sessions that they do periodically with us throughout their program where we go about all these different topics. And then the classes that we do, they range in all of those as well. We've got an anger and personal rights class for anger management.
Oh, that's
we've got
great.
a relationships course that they take in third phase and a leadership course. We do financial peace there for our third, which is Dave Ramsey's financial class, right? And so we try to cover as much of their life as we can and give them as many tools as they can, so that way when they graduate, they have everything that they need in order to be successable.
I bet every parent goes, why didn't you learn this in school? Why didn't they have this in school?
absolutely.
I'm wondering that.
I have, they didn't teach us how to change the oil in your girls, so you're not going to, they don't, go through that. Or that if you flush the commode and the thing goes all the way down and you go like, wait, is it broken?
Somebody go jiggle the handle.
If you take the top off and you pour the water in back at there, you'll get a flush and then you'll figure out what's wrong with it.
Or to do your taxes.
Why didn't they?
To do your taxes too. They didn't teach us to do our taxes.
Yeah. Oh.
Right?
Don't even.
Oh no.
Do you know what today is?
Oh,
this is like,
no.
we've only got 15 more days before hell comes down and says, you have not paid your taxes. No, I just found out what my taxes were going to be, so it's just a very sensitive subject. It's okay. So no, but I certainly do want to make sure that my money is going to help find out how mice react to being transgendered. So it's just things like that I'm scared about. Now they've opened that Pandora's box to tell us the truth about where our money's been going, and I have to write a check for it. You go, okay, Cindy, it's okay. God will take care of this, and those people, maybe the mice need it. I don't know. I haven't tried to get too into the weeds with that, but anyway, what you guys are providing is just a paradise on earth for parents. They go like, this is where my kid needs to be, and the fact that they have no phone for a year, right?
No phone for a year.
No
access to the internet.
No access to the internet.
Only like supervised
yeah.
access.
And only for a reason,
Right.
different
They
things
can't just like
that.
go on Facebook or whatever.
Yeah.
Or YouTube.
Yep.
Unless you're watching The Chosen, that's okay.
Right. Well,
We do
you can
let
buy
them-
those on DVD now. So
Yeah, we at the campus, it's kind of, it's just like a church in a way.
Yeah.
The atmosphere and the culture. I mean, you come through our campus, you're going to hear worship music. You're going to see people praying. You're going to see people praying for other people. We had some volunteers come in today, and they were praying over the men. We have we really want to make sure that it's accessible to different people. So we have some people on staff who are bilingual. We have some volunteers who are bilingual, and we really want to make sure that people have open access to it.
Okay, if y'all want me to come teach sign language, I will. And let me tell you something. I went to a women's center like this, and these girls were having babies out of wedlock, and they were coming from jails and stuff like that. So I told them I'm gonna teach you sign language, but here's the deal: I'm only going to teach you things to say that are uplifting and that are good, and that will help your friends, and you're going to be complimenting a lot of people, because that's all you're going to learn. And so whenever y'all want to communicate in sign language, then this is all you're gonna do. Because I remember when I first started learning sign language, everybody wants to teach you the bad words and the bad signs, and they had signs for all that. I didn't think they would have bad signs. What are you gonna do? You're not gonna talk like that with your hands. You gotta go wash your hands after every conversation. No, so anyways, I told them, I said, so we're not going to use words like different words. And so they said, okay. So I taught the sign language, and they were so funny. They said, okay, well, now we're practicing the sign language, and there are all these real nice words you're doing, all the nice, sweet things, all that stuff. And sometimes it gets a little boring. Can you just give us a little bit of things that we could say to each other that would, might shock each other? No, I said, no, you can't do that. But it was funny because they didn't have a word for it. They couldn't speak during this time that they signed each other. And they couldn't do that. So it was going to be, this is how you want to converse with each other. And so if you ever want me to come teach, a class,
Maybe for an event
in sign language, I will.
Yeah.
Or come
Gala or
talk
something.
about the deaf world and what that's all about. But it's anyway. I've always thought that you guys bring in so many different people to work with them, and it's good. That's so good, because it's not just you all the time. That they want to see other people. It really does help probably. But that's what's so exciting, is that y'all can do anything you want and on programs, and there's so much resource out there.
Yeah, it's definitely a responsibility and a stewardship, and we really take it seriously. The program, in a big way, it's it's individualized. Us staff, we meet weekly, to discuss student programs. Kent and I talk all the time, every single day we're at campus. We'll talk.
Y'all never had an argument
about students. It's bigger than us. It's
Right.
It's really a matter of life and death. I've done way too many funerals of men after getting out of the program who didn't take the program seriously, and so it's a very serious thing to me. If Dina or I wouldn't have took it serious, we might not be here. But we took it serious, and we learned during that year. You know, I took it very serious when I was in the program, and so it's really important. Now, the trick is, and
Yes.
Dina can speak to this too, is getting people in the program. You know, sometimes because it is a little bit of a process. It's like there is some steps that have to take. You know, from the initial contact, the phone interview, the personal interview,
Blood work.
There's a health screening.
Physical.
Yep. You have to have some documentation. You have to have. There's some
An ID,
legal. Yep.
social security card.
Yeah. If you just want to go through it a little bit.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a process to get people in. We do need blood work. This is because we're a group environment,
Right.
and so we need to know how we need to protect everybody there.
Yeah.
It's a general screening of tuberculosis test, hepatitis A, B, and C, and HIV. The two things that will prevent somebody from coming into the program right away is if they have tuberculosis, because it's highly contagious.
Right.
But that hasn't happened yet, at least while I've been there. And then hepatitis A is also one that's highly contagious. So if somebody has that, we would have to work with them to just take certain precautions so it doesn't spread while they take medications and things like that to resolve that. And then they'll need to have a phone interview or an in-person interview. This helps us know if a person is a good fit for us. We have certain rules for a reason. Like we're not a medical facility, so they can't be on any psych meds, things like that. A lot of times people are willing to get off of their psych meds to get the help that they need. But then, we need to have a social security card and an ID. This is so that they can go on work jobs. A lot of places where they work, they'll need an ID and they'll need their social security card in order to get a job somewhere.
I guess too, the attitude of that person coming in, you've got to feel like we're going to be able to get through to you, or we're going to be able to work with you, because if they're real resistant at an interview, do you have to have them come back, or do you have to just?
The thing is, we're an adult program, and so all they need is a willingness to be admitted and a willingness to want a life change for the better. And we try really hard to leave it very open for people. We do have a $1,500 induction fee too. Of course, we never turn anybody down if they don't have money.
Yeah.
But it's something that we ask, 'cause this helps us pay for their first month staying with us before they can go out on work. But we really try hard to not turn anybody down. Like I said, there's a few instances. Obviously, if they have a pretty new murder charge, we can't, for the safety of everyone, we can't take someone in like that. At least not right away, But
do you ever go into jails? Do you go into the jails where someone is and work with them?
A lot of Teen Challenge.
Yeah, I'm a
do.
female, so I can't really.
Yeah.
I don't think I can. Yeah,
Our campus doesn't right now. That being said, we keep a pretty close eye on the lists of people when they get into jail, and we might do a little bit of research, things like that. Now, we don't do outreach into the jails. I know a lot of Teen Challenges do, but yeah, and there is legal considerations that we have to take into case.
Say insurance.
You can't have any past sexual charges or anything like that.
Because we
right
have to
next
protect
to
a daycare. Also.
Oh, you are? Okay.
And we have to protect our atmosphere at our campus too. We have to protect that.
Well, y'all are you're so good, because you talk about all the things that you have to think about and the layers of that. Now, I need to give you a call. How do I call?
Yeah, so my direct number for admissions is 346-703-0007. That's my direct line. If I'm not there and you leave a voicemail, I get the voicemail transcript emailed to my email, so I'm able to see it. And if it's an emergency, I can, shoot you a text or call you so we can try to get it worked out. And then if not, I'll get to you when I get back into the office.
Well, you talk directly to the adults and then the parents as well. Okay. And so, what's your age of adults that you have in your program?
We can take anybody 18, unless they have a mandate from the court. Then sometimes we can take a 17-year-old. But then it goes up.
I tell everybody it's 18 or dead, 18 to dead.
18 to dead.
I mean, really.
Well, if
And
they
then
are
sometimes
dead, that's the
17.
cutoff. We can't take
That's the
anyone.
cutoff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
well, I'm
right.
glad.
We'll
that
pray
they-
that God raises them from the dead.
True,
Then they can come into the
true,
program.
true.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
That's what happened to her.
Well,
yeah.
So.
Well, or are you just going like, okay, God, you got them now. All right, they're
Yeah.
yours.
Well,
Maybe you have a
that
better
may be a good
program.
thing, may
That's
not,
right.
yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, that because people want to know now if they want to go online and find you, is
yeah,
that
so
the easy
they can
way?
go to our website.
HoustonMen'sRehab.org.
Houston. Okay, so it's not adult. That's not the challenge.
Right. It will go to the Adult and Teen Challenge of Texas website.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you can go to the
Magnolia Center.
Yep.
If you are somebody who wants to look into information to get admission, you can fill out a form there, and that will get sent right to my LMS system, which is my leads manager system, and I see every single form that gets filled out online for somebody looking for more information.
Okay, and it's Houston Men's
Say that.
Rehab.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And what I
.org.
tell people too is, anywhere, no matter what state you're in, no matter what continent you're on, just search Teen Challenge. We're such a big program, 1,400 campuses globally. And so
That's
we're such a
amazing.
we serve 11,000 students annually per year around
Wow.
that. Yep. And so, if you're in Texas, just Google Texas Adult and Teen Challenge and you will be able to find us.
Now, do y'all have is your chapel or is your church there on the campus?
Yeah, so we go to different churches on Sundays, but we have a chapel every Friday night on our campus. Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, so you go to different churches and do this. Because that's what I remember saying, I've got to tell my church. So
Oh
that
yeah,
Joe-
we have a choir, and I'm the
Yeah.
choir director. I'd love to bring us to your church.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
We'll
would
have
be
to
fun.
connect.
All right, we will do that for sure.
And we do have an event coming up June 14th. It's a summer festival.
Okay.
And we're going to have a giant Jenga competition. We're going to have the Dizzy Bat race where people spin on the bat and then race. We're going to have water balloon fights, and it's open to the church, open to families.
Then y'all have to come back. Before that.
Yeah.
Like before
Yep,
that, we
absolutely.
can do that. And if you want to bring one of your kids, that's
The
One
men.
of the students, yeah, we can.
and,
Yeah.
and someone that's very precocious.
They've been
we
they've been
also-
asking about it.
Yeah, we also have a thrift shop here just a few blocks away, Angelic Resale, and that's a ministry of
I
Adult
love-
and Teen Challenge. So
I've had them on.
we'd
Yeah,
love to come in for that. too.
they're wonderful.
Angelic,
and now
you can find all the treasures there.
you guys, these are the people to connect with if you're having problems with your kids or with your husband, wife, whatever. They're here, and they're here to help. So anyway, thank you guys so much for coming. I mean, it's an honor to have y'all here, and I appreciate it. And Dina,
Yeah.
so nice to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. It was nice
Talk.
to talk to you.
Let's talk. We'll talk
Yeah,
more. Okay.
good to
All right.
talk.
I'm getting this. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Wootton and Financial Group, for being our sponsor. And hey, first responders, we love you. We appreciate you. And so anyway, call somebody you love. Okay. All right. Bye bye.
Every week, people ask the same two questions. Are they ready to retire? Will their savings last for their lifetimes? Hi, this is Chris Wootton with Wootton Financial Group. Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. We help answer these two questions and many more that people have about their uncertain financial future. We have a simple introductory client experience that allows us to get to know the client and includes a few meetings for the client to kick the tires at no charge. We provide a concise, one-page summary that helps the client get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for them. To learn more about Wootton Financial Group's process of helping their clients to a clearer financial future and to see their contact information, visit Cindy Cochran's show page on irlonestar.com/TCCS. Wootton Financial Group is a proud sponsor of the Cindy Cochran Show. Wootton Financial Group is available by phone at 936-449-5952 or visit them on the web at www.woottonfinancial.com. That's www.woottonfinancial.com.
This program is sponsored by the Wootton Financial Group. It is not the intent of Wootton Financial Group to render or offer personalized investment advice or financial planning advice through this radio program or any related website. Wootton Financial Group's participation in this program is limited to providing general information on financial matters and should not be construed as financial recommendation or investment advice. Investment advisory services are offered through Game Plan Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission and the state of Texas. Insurance services are offered through Wootton Financial Group, Inc. Game Plan Advisors and Wootton Financial Group, Inc. are affiliated through common ownership, and neither firm is affiliated with The Cindy Cochran Show. No listener should assume that any information presented and or made available on this program serves as the receipt of or a substitute for personalized individual advice from Game Plan Advisors, Wootton Financial Group, or any of their representatives.